I really didn't think I wanted to go back because in my mind, what am I going back to? To me, it was not going to be the same. And I just kept saying, "Nah, I don't know. I don't know."
You know, we came back and to see what the damages were and things like that. It took a while for the school system to come back online, but that's what we wanted to know, whether if we had jobs, which, you know, I was able to go back to my job. But as far as students, number-wise and school-wise, everything was destroyed. And we had to build, like, from the ground up.
Once they start letting people in for Katrina, I had to bring my my mom, my sisters, and let them see what the damage was. When they said you could come back and see, you could get some things what you need, and just make sure once you do that, you in at a certain time or try to get out at a certain time before it get dark. They have no power, no light.
So I was very happy at Beaumont, and I had not thought about coming back to the city of New Orleans until Mardi Gras season. I came home from Mardi Gras, and I was under the bridge, and that's where bands usually come through, and they show up and they show out. But they only had like 2 bands to come through. One of them was the Max Band, that was St. Mary's, St. Augustine, Xavier Prep, and they didn't have a lot of students in it.
People were struggling to get normalcy back. You know what I mean? Because pre-Katrina, it was just, you go 2 blocks, you see huge bands. Bands were everywhere. You know, bands were falling out the sky. You know, everybody had a band with at least, you know, 70 to 80 kids in the band and more.
For Katrina, definitely the smallest bands were about 70 to 80 pieces. You know, the largest bands were touching 200. You know, nowadays we have now post Katrina we have bands that are just touching 100. You know, just barely a little bit over 100.
A lot of bands really didn't, I would say, recover. When you look at it, you know, some schools were closed. A lot of our middle schools were closed, had great programs like Colton and some of the others. And it affected the music program drastically because you didn't have that feeder school coming back in at the time.
Woodson, Bell, Gregory, Lawless, Peters, Phillip, Coat, you have Green. Most of the kids were not, and families was not returning back as quickly as they thought would happen.
To be honest with you, as strange as it seems, these programs that we had in place at these schools was actually part of the reason why most kids came back. Because it's almost like a family type thing. So they wanted to know how their brothers were doing, how their sisters was doing, and they wanted to know about the program because it was devastation.
When you're a band director, you're more than just a director or teacher. You are like a father. You just, it's like you're their parent almost. You are, because you're around them so much and you have such a relationship and a bond with them.
The band directors now, after Katrina, they're working very hard to bring back that sense of pride, that sense of dignity, that sense of respect for the programs. So they're coming together, creating different things that they're trying at the individual schools. They're having open dialogue about what worked at their school and what needs, does not work.
You know, everybody wanted to help. I mean, like I said, it was a terrible situation. So everybody really wanted to help. Not just, the academic side, but they wanted to provide something for a kid to do to have fun. Because research started to come out. Okay, band students are actually about 20 to 30% smarter.
Kids-wise, kids are kids, Kids still have that desire to be a part of something. They see the power of music, and they see that music takes them places. They see that it's a motivating factor for kids to go to school. They see it's a motivating factor for kids to keep their grades up.
Give the kids what they need. They need that structure, and band the marching bands in New Orleans brought that back for the kids. So that's why it was such a push to get, I think, the marching bands back functioning and functioning well.
Music heals the soul, and music has a way of bringing everybody together.
Now, if you're talking about a band, you're talking about 120 members playing and beating on instruments, but you're also talking about another 20, 30 dancing girls. You're talking about 20, 30 color guards, 20, 30 majorettes, 20, 30 flag twirlers. You're talking about charge of justice. You're talking about kids who are in cheerleading, and all of these. This whole big unit comes up the street, and it's like 300 or 400 students. So now you have 300 or 400 students who are addicted to the band and to the life of an extracurricular activity.
I'll tell that to anyone, and hopefully this can be aired. Wherever you have a marching band in your school, it builds the morale in your entire school.
Now, after the storm, principals want bands, and they know that brings, the school spirit, that brings the kids, that brings, that's that normalcy of just, Katrina did happen, but guess what? We're okay.
A lot of the adults, the older people, the older cats come back and talk about their days that they had, in New Orleans bands before Katrina and etc. And so that tradition is back, basically. The heart is pumping again.